Hello, everyone. This is Power N Blaso. Wait, is this recording?
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. This is Power N Blaso, Power and Black artists speaking out. I have two amazing guests, Yasmeen, Jaaber, and Adachi, Amaram, and we're going to be talking about trauma porn. How are you guys doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm nervous, but I'm excited at the same time to talk about this. What about you, Yasmeen?
Yeah, I'm okay. I had a coffee, so I'm kind of doing laps in my head right now, which is good. I'm happy it's Friday. And Tia, I love your hair.
Yeah.
I've never like a color before, but now I'm kind of obsessed with it. And
it looks really
always,
good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it does look so good on you.
Thanks a lot. But before we get started, can you guys please tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Okay, so I'm Yasmeen. I'm 18. I'm a senior in high school, and I do a couple of things. I like to write. I do a lot of roller skating these days, and I host a podcast called Was It Something I Said? And that comes out every week, so that's pretty cool. I guess I'm pretty invested in like independent journalism and commentary, news commentary, entertainment commentary. So I do a lot with that. And then I'm also a member of the Youth Climate Cooperative's Richmond chapter and Virginia Organizing's Richmond chapter.
Yeah, and What's Something I Said is a really cool podcast. And she also has a YouTube channel, so I'll be sure to put it into the blog. I can't talk. I'll be sure to put it into the description below. Adachi, what about you?
So I'm Adachi. I'm 17. I'm a senior in high school, and I also like to write, typically poetry. And I'm very obsessed with politics, I guess. I don't know if obsessed is the right word, but yeah, and social justice. That's things that are always on the forefront of my mind. So I'm always vocal about it. I guess much to people's dismay sometimes, but yeah, so that's really a little bit about me.
Yeah, and she's an amazing writer. I think you had performed one of your poems, for, I think it was like the Black History Assembly. I think that was you, but I've heard your writing before, and it's just incredible. So we have these two amazing, powerful writers, these two amazing artists, and they're going to be talking to us today. Well, we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about trauma porn. And just to provide a little bit of context, we were at a GLI meeting, and all of the members, they were engaging in like this powerful conversation, and they were talking about like the Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality. And then the term trauma porn came up, and it really sparked my attention. And Yasmeen and Adachi, you guys both had a lot to say about it. And so you guys have the floor. What is trauma porn, and why is it so toxic?
Really just any type of media, like pictures, videos, like that kind of exploit the, I wouldn't say like death or brutality against a certain group of people. Particularly, we were talking about like the trauma porn that was going around when the protests were happening in May. So basically, yeah, it's just like posting, reposting like the brutalization of people. I know Yasmeen and I were talking about like Black people and, you know, people posting those things. Sometimes people do it, I guess, to get recognition and to show, hey, this is what's happening. But it's very traumatizing for Black people or any type of people where they see themselves exploited, like on the TV, see their brutalization like every single day. It's very mentally taxing.
Yeah. What about you, Yasmeen?
Yeah, so definitely what Adachi said. The thing about trauma porn and why it's called that is because it's one of those things that people can't look away from. It's one of those things that's attractive to people. Every time there is an instance of someone being brutalized by the police, or made uncomfortable by the police, or the police are doing something wrong, or even if we look at those videos of like Karens harassing Black people in like grocery stores,
Mhm.
all of that is traumatic, but it's traumatic in a way that's appealing to the masses. So that gets reshared, that gets reposted under the guise of what do you call it, awareness, right? Spreading for awareness, like retweet for awareness, right? But
Mhm.
there's no action ever connected to it. There's no call your local representative about this. There's no organize around this issue. It's always look at this bad thing that happened, and that's it. And so I think what's really dangerous about trauma porn is, well, for one, seeing people like Black people brutalized is definitely traumatic, but also at the same time it's probably very traumatic for the families, right? Which is they're never thought of in that, and it never seems to happen to other races or in other instances. I cannot imagine a video of a white person being killed getting shared like that. And so it's always like this thing that people are so attracted to. Even if you look back to Emmett Till and the way his body was displayed, right? So even that was on postcards. People sent postcards of Emmett Till's dead body. So it's been around for a very long time, but it's kind of changed, and now it's via social media.
Yeah, and I was having, because I knew what it was. I looked it up as soon as the meeting had ended and everything, and I still had like an issue. Like I didn't know how to like explain it to my mom, because I was like, "Hey, mom, we're gonna do this episode, and I'm interviewing these two girls today," and she was like, "Trauma porn, like what is that?" And I couldn't find a way to like explain the title, but like what you guys were both saying, like you can't like look away from it. It's kind of like porn or whatever, and I feel like people kind of like, I don't know, why could I say the word? Glorize? Am I saying that right?
Why are you crying?
Because I'm inarticulate. Did I say that right?
Glorify.
Glorify. Why can't I talk? Anyways, they kind of glorify it, which is kind of nasty. And you were saying it, Yasmeen, that people will post it to kind of like make awareness to it. And that actually brings me to my next question. How do you guys feel about people posting these videos as a form of activism? Because like they think that they're doing something, and I feel like some people's hearts and intentions are in the right place, but it might not be. It's just not the right way to carry it out. But how do you guys feel about that?
I think it's dangerous for certain people. I'm gonna say certain people who claim they're our allies. By our, I mean like Black people. They claim they're allies to Black people in the Black Lives Matter movement, and then their only form of activism is reposting our brutalization. And then there's no, like what Yasmeen was saying, there's no like, oh, we're gonna take this form of action, maybe sign this petition or go and do this, contact these legislative people, like these legislative people. Like there's none of that, and all they do is like, here, let me show you this video of this Black man getting killed or this Black man getting beat by the police. And there's that activism like that. I think that's dangerous. You're not taking any type of steps, even putting yourself in, like, I wouldn't say danger, but putting yourself as a disadvantage to help us, because it's not, you're not doing anything by that. So I don't really see it as a form of activism. I feel like if you're going to post this with awareness, you need to take other active steps as well, other steps for action that people can take, instead of just posting our brutalization and then doing nothing and saying, oh, I'm an activist now.
And I feel like a lot of people miss like that key word in activism, which is act. Like,
which is act, yes.
You can post things all you want, but that takes like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You need to like, I don't know, do something. Like get out there, say something. I don't know, bring more attention to it instead of just like posting like a brutal video? Because I feel like that doesn't do much. What about you, Yasmeen?
Yeah, like kind of what Adachi was saying, I do think it's definitely a bit more problematic when it's coming from people who are allies who are trying to help, and that's why they're reposting it. Because, well, first of all, I stopped watching those videos. I used to watch them every time I saw them. I would be like, okay, I need to know what happened here. I need to be informed. But then I realized that, you know, at some point I knew what was going to happen in the video. I knew the attitudes of the people involved. I knew that it was going to make me cry. You know what I mean? I knew all of those things. And I got to a point where I was like, the only goal that I have as far as the police is concerned is abolition, right? And so while I'm working towards abolition, I don't need to repeatedly traumatize myself to know that abolition is the goal and is always going to be the goal. And so I guess I just don't really trust the motivation behind sharing it every single time, because at some point, you know how you're going to feel, you know how you already feel. What are you going to do to make sure it stops happening, right?
Yes. And that was very well said. And yeah, I don't know. And then the next question, it was kind of like, is trauma porn motivating? Like, people will post it and they think that it does do something, but you guys kind of already answered that. Like, no, it's not motivating. It kind of like tears you down. I feel like it has the opposite effect that people expect it to have, if that makes sense. And it,
no, yeah, even like with Breonna Taylor, the way that everyone paraded around Breonna Taylor's name on shirts, on mugs, in Instagram captions as like jokes, like they thought they were doing something. You know what I mean? They're like, this is awareness. This is what we're gonna do to get Breonna Taylor justice. And then when Breonna Taylor did not receive justice through, you know, prosecution, there was silence. Nobody cared. And it was the same people who said that they had put her name on this and that so that, you know what I mean, because they cared or whatever. But when justice was not received, that was the end of their action, and that was the end of their commitment.
yeah. And so I guess the answer to that is kind of like, I don't know. If you want to make a change, if you want to see a change, then just like go out and do it. But posting like a video of somebody getting beaten to death, of somebody getting shot multiple times, that's not going to do much. And then the very last question is, how do you identify trauma porn? And how do you call people out on it? Because I didn't really realize it until I had to like really think about it. A lot of the movies that I watched with like, you know, black leads, it's 9 times out of 10, it is trauma porn. It's always about people investing in our trauma. It's not, I don't know, to kind of like enjoy our culture or whatever. It's not to just like enjoy like a day in the life of like, you know, an average kid. It's always about something that's traumatic. What do you guys feel about that?
I agree. I feel like Black people in Hollywood are just associated with pain, and our stories are just associated with suffering, and that we can never be loved without like that step of like pain or going through something. And so I kind of feel like there is like some type of trauma porn with the movies that we see all the time. Like, it's always us getting beaten up or us having the experience with racism, and we know that that's our reality already. Like, we know that we live that every day. When I sit down and watch a movie, I don't want to have to see the struggles of my life on the big screen every single time. You know, I'm paying to go see this. I don't want to pay to see my people brutalized again, because, you know, that's already my daily life. So I do think there is an element of like the trauma porn that Hollywood does exploit when it comes to Black people, when it comes to sharing our stories and things like that. So that's why I think movies like Black Panther, just to give like, I don't know, example where where it wasn't just centralized around our suffering, really appealed to a lot of people because they saw us in a different light. They saw us in like royalty. They saw us having money, just different things that we're not really associated with when it comes to like the big screen. So I do think that it's definitely an issue in like Hollywood and all that.
Yeah.
Definitely, Adachi. And I guess when I think about like media and stuff and media consumption, I kind of think a lot about like Black women in media, and in Tyler Perry's stuff, when Black women are abused, when Black women are cheated on, And that's entertainment, right? That's inter-community entertainment. And we watch it, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I grew up on. And that is still trauma porn, like having vivid, you know, scenes of sexual assault with Black women. And that's really it. And we don't really see Black women, like, you know what I mean, fully formed. We see Black women's characters created just so that they can struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a form of trauma porn as well. And I would say, even, I don't know if you guys have seen this movie Kids, about the AIDS epidemic in New York. And that movie ended with this like 10-minute long sexual assault scene, and it's got like crazy ratings. Everybody loves it. It was a big hit in the 90s. And I was like, this is trauma porn. Like, this, the fact that somebody saw that and said, wow, what great art, or wow, you know what I mean, like, this is beautiful, or whatever. I think that we kind of conflate awareness with trauma porn all the freaking time. It happens constantly. So I feel like, to really see it, sorry, my rabbit is drinking water. To really identify it, I think intention is good. I think intention is really, really important. And then also respect, because I think you can definitely approach all these sorts of traumatic topics with respect and care, and centering victims, and not centering, you know what I mean, oppressors, or not centering people who have never experienced it. Center the victims, and then I think there's no way you could really go wrong.
Yeah, and I think, respect does go a long way. And I don't know, depending on like who you're talking to, they could take this conversation and be like, oh, so you're saying that like you want to like stop like all movies, like we can't ever have anything with like any kind of like, you know, bad drama or something. I don't think that's what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is like, there's a way to approach it without it being so, I don't know, in your face, like this is that, and we're just gonna like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
no, because there's a way to approach it that's not about spectacle. And so many times it's about spectacle. It's about, look at this.
Like a shocking thing. Like, I want to like shock you.
Right.
And we know that they can do it because they have all these variety of movies and medias about white people and the different aspects of them. It's not just, ooh, they're struggling. We see them, you know, at their highs. We see them at their lows. We see coming of age movies that don't have to do with, I don't know, them being brutalized. And so we know that it's not something that's impossible to do. People just don't want to do it. So
and bring that up, now that I'm thinking about it, whenever I see like a hard, like heavy issue, you know, talked about in like a white film, they make it settle. I think it was like Percy being a wallflower. Like at the end, you were able to like kind of like see like, oh, he was sexually abused as a kid. But like the way they did it was very subtle. But I feel like when it's like a person of color, they want to go all out for that. I don't know. Am I the only one?
No, and even in Antebellum, which was written by a Black man and a white man together, and that was a movie about slavery, right? The beginning of that movie was just brutalization of like Black people and sexual assault. And that movie, I have a lot of thoughts. I thought that movie sucked, but but I guess like when I was watching it, I was just so deeply uncomfortable by the fact that it was making money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the fact that, you know, it wasn't really created by victims of slavery. It was created by people to make money, and it was kind of marketed as a horror movie, like, oh, spooky little horror movie, when it took things from like very, very real things that actually happened to people. There was no care and there was no respect. It was literally just spectacle. And even like slavery movies are kind of hit and miss as well, because I think we should have them. I think that we should have them. I'm never going to say we shouldn't have any movies about slavery, but I know that a lot of the movies I've seen about slavery have been less about, you know, the actual people who were enslaved and more about the violence that they
went through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have anything, Adachi? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna touch on the like movies about slavery, because I kind of feel the same. Like, I don't think that we should eliminate like the production of them. I'm just tired of seeing them, and I would like to see different aspects. If you're gonna like make a movie about this, like we kind of already know, about slavery. Like we know, shine the light on different aspects. Maybe the heroism, maybe the strength. Not just this is what they endured. Oh, they were whipped. Oh, their babies were fed to crocodiles or something like that. Like
a white savior or something.
Exactly. Like I don't want to see that either. Like. And even predate slavery, because our history, Black American history, does not start with slavery. It just doesn't. We had like kingdoms that we were running way before white people even came to like the continent of Africa. How about we talk about those? Like, why are there no movies about those? Why are there no movies about like Mansa Musa and like all those different types of people? I'm just tired of slavery movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I will watch some of them if I feel like it's actually going to be informative or tell me about a different part of it, a different element, not just the same brutalization over and over, because that's played out.
Yeah.
And I would say too, something that contributes to kind of the infantilization of Black people in America is this brutalization, is that's all that's being produced, you know what I mean, in our name or whatever. So that's kind of why there's this weird white savior complex, because we're either, you know what I mean, not human, or we're little kids that need you to save us or whatever, because all they're seeing is Black people suffer.
Yeah. And then, so like, how do we call people out for trauma porn? And how can we go about as a generation? How can we make this like less popular? How can we make it less of a thing and make people, more specifically, non-Black people, more aware of this?
I would say for like certain people that post a lot of trauma porn and then no other steps of action to take to stop the source, I would call those people out. Like if you're not seeing them post any type of, contact this legislator or contact these people like at the police department or something like that, and it's just videos of brutalization of Black people. At that point, I would say, hey, what do you think this is solving? How do you think this is helping? What form of activism do you think this is, falling into? Like, what is this doing for us? Like, what is this doing? Because we know. And I feel like if people really want to see those things, they can take it on their own time. Like, there are videos posted, like, by news sources and stuff. You can go and watch it yourself. We don't need to, like, post it for everyone to see, because not everyone wants to see that. Sometimes I have to click through. What if I'm having a bad mental health day and then I'm seeing brutalization once again? So I think those are measures. And also really, it just goes to like calling out the source of like what this brutalization is coming through. Like the source for a lot of the stuff like in May was like the police department and the police system and stuff like that. So I think dealing with the reformation of what is catalyzing, I can't speak either, sorry. Like the brutalization that we're seeing, like whether it's police brutality or people not getting justice, all those things. I think dealing with the sources of those can help, because we're not going to be seeing those stories as much, we're not going to see those stories as much. So I think finding ways to reform the systems that are brutalizing victims is another way.
Yeah, definitely. I like what Adachi said about just saying, hey, how is this helping? Or what's your intention here? What's the goal? What, you know what I mean? What's your objective in sharing this? Because I never want to, you know what I mean? Because it is like good intentions sometimes, you know what I mean? It is like this, oh, I want to help my followers get informed or whatever. But I do think bringing up that question is really useful. And then I also, since we're about to wrap it up, I also just wanted to encourage everyone who's watching or listening to get involved locally. When we see these cases in oftentimes states that are not our own. We see them all across the globe, right? And it's usually not a local thing. So anything you could do, like calling legislators for that state or whatever, is great. But I also think that we can do a lot more damage locally. And so if you're seeing this system that's corrupt, and it's corrupt in other places, in other states, know that it is also corrupt here. And there's people organizing around that issue here. And so I think just getting involved locally is the way to go about it. So, and that's always, you know what I mean? It takes more work. It takes more effort. It's a lot more work than putting something on your story, but it's much more rewarding. And I feel like everyone should organize. Who cares?
All right, and that does conclude the interview. But this is a really, really good talk, and I really hope this was able to, I don't know, shine more light on this situation. I hope that you guys were able to take something away from it. I know that I did, and I learned a little bit more than what I originally, you know, like knew. So hopefully the same applies for you. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, this is Power N Blaso, and bye.